Okay.
BHC Services.
What is this, birthday party? No idea.
Scam call again.
Probably.
We'll find out later. That's what happens when you have an vibrate. Ooh, let's get the show on the road.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room where it is accessible to the public. Simpson.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Furbaum.
Here.
Marvin.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Thank you. You can all rise, please, for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 1 is approve the consent agenda, pay the claims as submitted, approve the minutes of the March 19th regular council meeting.
So moved.
Aldrich moves.
I'll second.
Furbaum seconds.
Simpson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Furbaum.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Thank you. It is now time for the public forum. If somebody in the audience wants to present something to the council that is not on the agenda, now is the time and the place for that. Other than that, later, sit down. Thank you, Pastor Ted. We'll close the public forum. Item 3, now approve the use of the sidewalk. The west side of West Avenue in front of the Spirit of Grace Church, north of 5th Avenue, and the alley behind the church for a Town bicycle safety. Now you may rise and approach your wise counsel.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Young. Last year we did our first of what we had hoped would become an annual bicycle safety event, and I'm pleased to announce that we're going to try doing it again and make it bigger and better. So, to that end, and you have included, I think, in your packet this evening, a sketch of what we would like to do this year. A couple changes from last year. We're not requesting the use of the city lot at 5th and Grant. We are requesting now that we would have half a block of 5th Avenue closed just during the event itself and for a little time before and after. The reason for that is because we really wanted last year to be able to give kids the opportunity to use the street so we could do some simulated safety kind of interactions as part of the obstacle course. We're trying to teach kids things like, if you go biking right along a row of parked cars, somebody's going to open a door, and that sort of thing. We were able to do that with pretty good success in the city lot, but it's a lot more effective when it's on the street. So the one change is that instead of using the parking lot there and having to do crossing guards with the kids, which we considered kind of less than optimal for safety reasons, we wanted to take just that little section during the event. The reason we didn't propose that last year is because we were trying to be cognizant of the businesses and such, especially with the road construction that was going on at the time. We had the whole 4th Avenue closed, and we thought closing more roads would be just more chaos and stress for people. So this year, if it would be all right with you all, we'd like to use that space in order to put that event on. And there's one correction over the document you have in front of you. I had a little bit of a brain fart and got the wrong time. The event is not, what did we have on? We had 10:30 on there, or 10 o'clock on there, and that was old information. It actually, the event is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this year, and we'll be setting up starting at 8 a.m.
And you've discussed with all the businesses and no problems as far as?
Nobody's expressed any problems. Last year we didn't have any trouble with anybody who was unduly inconvenienced or anything like that. We are only asking for the parking spaces from the south end of where the building is for the church up to the corner, and both of those businesses on Saturday morning are not open then. So we're trying to be as cognizant of, you know, our slogan at Spirit of Grace is we want to be great neighbors to Holdridge, and so we've kind of been trying to design the event to produce minimal impact.
I can see them being for something like this anyway, so.
You know, we've had a lot of local business support us, and we're really grateful for that. The insurance agencies have stepped up. Hills of X is involved again this year. So we're very grateful for the community's support. We also are really grateful to the hospital foundation, which supported us with $1,000 to buy more really like actual quality bicycle helmets to distribute. So we have over 100 bicycle helmets to distribute for free for any kid who wants to come. And we can accommodate now, this year we'll be able to accommodate any size, from kids who are too young to ride on their own, might be riding on a parent's like back seat, all the way up to adults. Yeah, and Mayor Young, we actually did get the extra large helmets, so we can take care of you too.
Flashing light on the back?
That's right. And a
Sounds
beanie.
like a cram.
No. You won't be parking in front, or parking will still be open in front of Heather's?
Yes, we won't be taking any of those spaces.
Will their employees still be able to come in the back
During
early on?
We're going to probably close it off to the point, if we look on the map here, what Heather's folks, sometimes they come in and they park behind there. We're
Yeah.
using that as kind of a turnaround spot. And so that morning, we'll probably ask the city barricades to be down that way. But if somebody needs to slip a car through, we'll have volunteers on hand to monitor the course anyway. And we can just say, hey, come on through and park, and it won't get in the way.
Employees won't be coming and going.
No, I think that won't be much of an issue.
Any questions? We'll probably have to block off all of Fifth Avenue between Grant and West Avenue.
Yeah, I guess I would imagine so.
I thought it was a half.
Half a block is what we're asking for, but, you know, you need
But
to
we don't want people
Block open.
come on down and then turn around.
turning and thinking they can get through Fifth Avenue.
Well, we block it off solid at the alley. Street closed ahead at the corner of Fifth and Grant, and block it solid off at the alley with 3 board barricades.
That sounds great.
Kim, are you guys gonna, the city guys gonna do that, or are you just gonna have the stuff down there? and-
We'll probably do it, because we're gonna have to block off the alley behind gifts and things also, so nobody goes south.
Okay,
And so we'll put a street closed ahead sign on that north side of that alley, and we'll block that solid off, just so there's nothing. We'll come out and do it, you said 8 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, 8 o'clock for setup, 9
We'll
o'clock.
set up
for
at 8.
you want the church to pick the stuff up, just put it over on the sidewalk?
We could, but we can also come back in at 11:30 and get everything picked up, so it's not
Okay.
downtown too.
Okay.
Thank you. Much obliged.
I'd move we approve.
Second that.
McDermott seconds.
McDermott,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor Ted.
Thank you very
That was
much.
well received last year, it looked like.
You know, I'm excited. We're hoping it's going to be quite a bit bigger event this year. So, you know, we felt like that too with the Spooktacular, and now it's like, oh dear Lord, look how many people are here. So we're kind of hoping this catches on the same way, because we want to create a culture of bicycle safety in Holdridge. And I apologize, but I beg your leave. I've got kids that I need to take over caring for so that my wife can do her church responsibilities this evening. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Ted. Item 4, approve the use of the street in front of the city auditorium for food vendor parking during the craft show on April 5th and 6th.
What we're asking for is we're having our 7th annual craft show at the auditorium, and Score One's smoking. Chris Nelson wants to bring his truck in and serve breakfast and lunch. And we've kind of talked with Scott Walker, who does the building, and we kind of thought we would see if it was approval with you guys if we had him park right on the corner in the street and serve onto the sidewalk. So that way we can keep the foot traffic out of the street, or even crossing the street or coming from the parking lot to the west of Gifts and Things, or even having to walk all the way from the other public parking lot of the south. So that way it would be easier for people, the vendors for one inside, to come outside right out front to get some breakfast and lunch. And then for any of the community members that come in to shop, we're also gonna have tables set up inside so they could grab their food outside and come in and sit in there and eat and then wander around in the craft show. So we're just asking for, just for him to have his truck and his trailer there from 6:30 a.m. till about 2:30 p.m. on April 6th.
Any questions? I presume we block the whole street off from 4th to 5th?
Oh, we could probably just set up some, or even have some cones down there when Scott opens it up for, when they come in for Pam, when they open up more, we can have Scott set out cones and we can just cone around it. So that we still have traffic going up and down Grand.
Okay.
Because
Sounds
I
good.
think they're gonna want traffic, because they'll be parking in the
Yeah.
parking lot across the street at Fifth and Grand and also on Fourth and Grand, so.
Yeah, we don't need the whole street, we just want him to be able to, for the people on the sidewalk to walk right up to his window, so he's literally gonna be, butt up next to the curb, and we can just walk up to his window and grab the food and then head on back into the building.
Sounds good. Any other questions, concerns? If not,
I'll move we approve the space for Score One.
I'll second it.
Larry Marvin?
Burbine,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy it, hope you have good weather.
Yeah, me too.
Item 5, approve a special circumstances, special designated license allowing Lost Way Brewery to be sold on location JB Sports Bar.
I'm Jerry Purdick, the owner operator of JV Sports Bar and Grill. We're having an event for Chase Hasty is going away to go to Guam. So we're having a magic show and a dinner. And then I'm trying to get a special license actually to buy the kegs from Lost Way Brewery, so to work with Lost Way. So we can put their kegs on our kegerator and sell their product in our business. And the show is at 7:30 on April 19th. And we're just asking for the special license to have the event.
So you'd be serving Lost Way Brewery.
Their craft beer, yeah.
Help promote a local product.
What's that?
Help promote a local
Yes,
product.
I'm here to work with other businesses.
That's
I
nice
like
to see that.
I'm here to work with the other businesses, so and they're a good business to be involved with, and they're a good draw to the town of Holdridge, so it's good for both businesses.
Jerry, is this just a one-time deal then? You're not gonna have that on?
That's correct, Randy.
Okay.
It's just for that night. And there's possibly, and Mark was supposed to be here too, but possibly if we didn't sell out of it, I think there's a license where we can sell till the product's gone. So, I mean, whatever's easiest for us, if they wanna, I told them if it didn't work out, that they could bring in and sample their beer just like they did at the PCDC banquet. But, whatever's easiest for them, for us to get.
How many people can you hold in your?
We're gonna have about 130 for the show, and then we're gonna shut it off. It's gonna be a dinner, and then afterwards, we'll open back up to the public. But for the dinner and show, it would be about 130.
Cool. Any other questions? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Aldrich,
Second.
Simpson.
Simpson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Thank you, Jerry.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Item 6, item approve specifications and contract documents for a new police vehicle.
Members of the council, included in your packet were the vehicle specs for a 2020 Ford Explorer Interceptor, or whatever they want to call them. It's basically a Ford Explorer. Just to let you know that the vehicle has been completely redesigned for the 2020 model, which is probably why it took a little longer for the state to get the bids. The only thing that I changed on it that we really need is an additional battery. They do have additional batteries they'll put in there, and the reason being is because of all the technology going into police cars now with computers, rechargeable flashlights, the radar, the video cameras, and all that. We'd like to have an extra battery because occasionally we've had somebody forgets to shut something off, and then we have to run up and jump the vehicle, and you really don't want that in an emergency vehicle if an officer has to come out and get in the vehicle and go someplace. And he's been on a day off, and he's been off 8 to 12 hours, you don't want him to have to do that. So that's really the only thing that I've added on there from previous models, or previous vehicles. I have talked with both Mike, even though he couldn't be here today. I did talk to him earlier about the bids. And then I met with Ben tonight to talk to him about the vehicle specs too, and I think both of them are fine with it. So we would have the opening for the bids 2 weeks from today, so we could approve the bids and get a vehicle ordered for whoever may get the lowest bid.
If you go with this, you'll take the cages out of the one into the other?
Well,
or will they
I'm
fit?
certainly in hopes of that. We are checking now as we speak to see, since this has been completely redesigned, I'm hoping we can still use the old cage out of Explorer to move into that one. If not, we're gonna have to buy a whole new cage.
Have you looked into or thought about the quarter cages where you can?
We have, and some of the officers probably like them. The thing is, they're much more expensive than a cage that goes completely across the back, which officers don't sit in the back anyway. So, no.
A prisoner could get back there possibly, but
Get back.
in the back, behind the
On
back
the
seat?
very back, yeah, if they're cuffed and seat belted, they shouldn't, but that would be just an additional, you'd have to get an additional cage in the cage in the back. I thought you meant the right behind the officer. I'm sorry, misunderstood.
Any questions about plans or specs? Recommendation from the committee?
I recommend that we approve it.
Motion by Ben, second by
I'll second.
Troy Irvine.
Black and white.
Black and white.
If you wanna approve and give me about another $1,000 for that, thing is, that comes out of there, and $1,000 can go a long ways in getting a radio or getting a cage. That's the only problem. Yeah,
And you are taking contributions?
oh yeah, if anybody wants to donate, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm still of the opinion that a vehicle is to get from point A from point to point B, not always to impress everybody. But that's my personal. But if you'd like to give more money to that vehicle replacement fund, then that'd be fine.
We have a motion and a second.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Randy, we could go with red. I heard years ago they had a red Rambler or something like that. That's what I heard.
Oh.
I think Bruce Felty told me once they had a red vehicle or something like that.
I think red would be sharp.
A Rambler would be questionable about getting to point A, to point B.
I want you driving it too.
Item 7, consider safety modifications to the City Hall business office area. This was tabled from 2 weeks ago. Mainly looking at bulletproof glass in the service area, the gals. Anybody had any discussions from your constituents?
I've talked to some of mine, and some say, yeah, it'd be nice. Others are like, well, you know, if you do it, fine. If not, it's not a big deal. So, but regardless, I still think we need to do something for security on doors.
We have the capability right now. I think that all the doors have been,
Back door. You come back and told us there?
that door into the office, don't we have the, then,
Yeah, I believe it's got a lock on it.
It does.
Does it?
yeah,
It is.
No.
that they can push the key or the button and let people in. I think Brian,
Does Brian's door, does your door between you and Kim have a lock on it?
Yes.
Between me and
Oh,
the
yeah,
alleyway,
just
the
for-
alleyway, no, out front, in front of mine it does.
yeah,
In front of my desk does. Going out into the lobby there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has one.
Isn't there a door between you two?
Yeah, it, no.
There's a
no
hallway,
Yeah.
yes, and that does not have anything.
Okay.
a couple weeks ago in staff meeting, we talked about another security issue that we're gonna look at doing in-house, but being live streamed, I don't wanna talk about all our security issues either.
I'd like to read Mike Sisson, since he's not here, he sent me a text message, so I'll read what he had to say. Says, I won't be at the council meeting on Tuesday, I'll be attending training in Omaha Tuesday and Wednesday with Black Hills. Wanted you to know I have talked to and have had people call me about bulletproof glass, hoping we would vote no on this. I too am against spending that kind of money, like how these texts wrap around, but would be open-minded to doors inside the building being redone where accessibility is limited. In case this comes up Tuesday, this is how I feel. Thanks, Mike. Then I'll just say I've had multiple calls on this. I was taking them up to about 4 o'clock this afternoon. People, everybody I've talked to have been against it. They think it's way too much money, and they just don't think we need it, I guess.
So we never do.
Yeah.
Hope not.
Well, we can look, I know the big concern is those double doors, and we can take a look at that and see if there's something we can do to, to brace those or whatnot, because as Randy stated, I think last meeting, I think if somebody threw a big shoulder into it, they could probably get into that thing. I don't think I'd wanna try, because I don't wanna get hurt. But we can look at something like that, and my door also has the lock on it. But I personally like to leave it open, because just the PR stuff that come in when people come in, and I get a lot of brief questions of numerous things. It goes from anything from Brian stuff, electrical, to how are you doing today, to what can I do for building, just a lot of little stuff. And I think if my door's closed, I'm not gonna have that. And a lot of people aren't gonna fail to come in and visit. I just think I think it helps being a little open, so we can at least have that visitation with people.
Well, that's kind of the thing I've heard a lot of people say as far as the personal aspect between everybody. You put a window up or whatever. People aren't as uncomfortable. It makes you feel like you're, okay, I'm in an unsafe area. But, just the one-on-one with people, I think is kind of a big thing too, so.
Well, is there any kind of a protocol on anything that happens like this again, hopefully never, but is there a protocol or anything they come up with where we have a lockdown? I mean, somebody running through the downtown area shooting up or whatever, we want to at least be able to lock down to keep them from entering.
Chief, do you?
Well, I don't know, that's something you have to look at, but then another thing you need to look at is, do you need a safe building for someone to come into? And some people might try to come to City Hall thinking it would be safe. Justin and I are working on stuff so we would be able to have a message sent out to everybody that's signed up. But where people would come and whether it's locked down, I guess that's up to the City Hall to decide what sort of program they would want to have a lockdown or lock out or shelter in place or whatever they may want to do. And another thing too is when you're always talking about security, it's not always people from outside that are going to come in, but how many places have people who have employees themselves who come in, and employees themselves are going to know the system and probably be able to get buzzed in and come in, and so, and that's not saying, that- so having bulletproof glass and all that stuff is probably not gonna help you from employees from within, and like I would say, I would never hope that would happen, but there's probably a need to maybe some way address that too, if you're going to have lockouts or lockdowns or whatever too.
Like when you said, the lockdown or the high school says it's lockout, people can't get in.
Right.
So if you got some students or teachers going,
They,
yeah, they can't get in either.
they did make exceptions on the one situation we had for a very short period of time, because they knew they stood at the doors. They knew what was going on, and they stood at the doors and did allow students in, basically, I think because they felt it would be safer for them to be in the building than outside the building. So, but once again, the school knew who the students were, would know who the teachers were. So they did allow some students in, I think, just for safe purposes. But yes, when they do have a lockdown or they have four different stages that they can go through. But I think at some, at least Mr. Drews had said, they were there to make sure students were able to get in. I think more as a safety issue would be better for the students to be in the school. But that's true, you don't want parents come running up to the school, they're not gonna be allowed in. So people need to trust different entities to say that we have things under control here, and stay where you're at, and people will be safe if they have a lockdown in the school. They don't want a bunch of parents coming up trying to get the kids out of the school. And, you know, there's been, as you've probably seen, different bombings. There are secondary devices, and I think that's always been a concern for police, that if you have a situation at a school, what do parents want to do? They immediately want to run to a school. Well, where's a great place for a secondary device to go off if parents are running up there to do something, or for somebody to shoot or harm other people? And so people need to trust that the schools and different people, even the churches, have, a lot of them have some security protocol, just as I'm sure BD, Allman Brothers, everybody, and they need to trust those systems.
Mary?
As far as the glass goes, I did not speak to everybody, but I spoke to 3 staff members, and they were not in favor of it because of the customer service issue. But they did have another suggestion and recommendation that they'd like to pursue, which I will not mention while we're on the live stream, but and you probably already know what it is, but I'll bring it to you afterwards, and I'd like to see that one pursued.
Yeah, I think they're working.
Well, and then we do, all the city employees have radios that scan. The ladies up front, they each have a radio because they're in contact with meter readers, and those radios can scan too. So we knew of that incident that was going on.
I called up here to City Hall and told Jeanette to get the doors locked and blah, blah, blah. And she started yelling for Jessica and the girls. Well, Kim had already knew what was going on too, and they were already in Kim's office watching it across the street. And so I did hear it on my scanner and called up here immediately.
But we knew what was going on, and we did have.
Well, when I, excuse me, when I called up here to see what was going on, Jessica asked me, she said, well, what do we do? What should we do here? That's what my suggestion is, to lock down.
Well, I believe that's probably a protocol that city staff needs to discuss and figure out what we need to do.
And that's, you know, I want to try to look out for the
I
safety
understand.
of the employees. Not just here, but all employees.
I understand.
Randy?
I asked for this to be tabled and brought back to this meeting, and the reasons was so we can have a discussion like this. It's important that we talk about this issue. Personally, I've thought about it, and I've looked that over down there. I'm, at this stage of the game, I'm not interested in putting the glass I think we know what it's gonna look like. We have pretty much the specs, we have everything there. So if we wanna do this down the road, we can. But I am really concerned about those pair of double doors. That lock isn't gonna stop anybody on those doors. And I really think we should look at doing something different with those two doors. I really do. And I hope the council will go along with.
I can be agreeable to that. I think those are measures we can do, and then plus, I think we all kinda know what the behind the scenes thing is we're talking about doing, and there's some things we can do
Yeah,
to enhance safety.
and we need to. I
And we
mean,
can do that.
I'm not sure we're done discussing it
Yeah.
yet. I think,
And I think if staff kinda looks at some of the safety measures, like say as far as when something's going on,
Right.
what do you do as far as, kinda get some procedures in place.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'd like to see that for everybody.
yeah.
And if we do some steel doors or whatever, it's gonna change the complexion of the integrity of the building.
I realize that,
Yeah.
but I think that's just a critical area right there. I mean, it's just, you could bust right in there without any problem at all. I'd like to have Kim look into what we can do for those two doors if the council feels like that's the direction we should go.
I would be for it.
What's your recommendation? Table this for now?
Yeah, I would like to have Kim research the double doors and work on that aspect of it right now. And maybe bring back some information on that. It's gonna change the appearance out there. I mean, they're gonna be
Yeah.
steel doors and, they need to have some glass in them so you can see and see through there.
We'll just table that for now
Yeah.
and bring it back at a later date. That's kind of what the council's looking at. Consensus?
That's a good compromise.
Yeah. Okay. Time for open discussion. Bob? Dan?
Thank the council for giving me some time off to go enjoy my son's wedding in Bahamas. I appreciate that.
You're starting to get your pale color back now instead
Starting
of
to
that.
heal.
You wear a hat.
Welcome back. Chief?
Thank you though for okaying the vehicle specs, I appreciate that.
Troy?
Nothing.
Marvin?
No, sir.
Mr. Johnson?
I was just curious about the water situation. I'm still getting a bunch of phone calls about the smell.
We
and
were
the
supposed
taste.
to test until April 1st, which was yesterday, and I was gone today, and I'll have to talk to Randy tomorrow. I know we started doing some flushing late last week to try and help the situation, but I think they needed to retest this week, and then we'll have to go see what the results are.
The results are bad, though it's gonna continue on
It'll
for another
continue
month,
another
or-
month,
Okay.
but with the nice weather now, we'll be able to start flushing, which will help. And we always flush dead-end lines in the spring, and, bless you, and other areas that we do flushing, so this will help too. But I can't give you an answer, because I haven't, it's like I was gonna do, and I didn't talk to Randy, so. He just told me they need to yesterday he told me they need to retest, so.
The water at Gutters at noon didn't taste quite like mine at home. Didn't taste like Coleridge water.
Well, I got all the complaints the first time. I didn't think mine was bad, but this last week, oh.
I found out my wife's been having a reaction to it when she washes her face at night. So she switched to distilled water and the rash went away. So we figured out it must be the chlorine. So you're making me buy distilled water.
So she
Locally?
she don't swim in the pool either, does she?
Don't find it locally. That's a good thing. Randy?
Has Olson submitted a new drawing on the new housing project, the streets and
Over
east?
Well, today Brian said that Olson's,
Doug brought it to me yesterday. He wanted to talk to Kim a little bit. Nothing's set in stone yet. He wanted to, I got a heck of a time trying to figure out how to, because if I took him right, all but about 4 of those lots are gonna be duplexes. That's what he thought. And that's a lot of duplexes and, you know, so he's making sure I'm okay with where we're gonna have to have easements, cause there's no alleys, putting everything. And he put an alley on the, right now he put an alley on the east end.
Oh, so they could circle?
So like trash trucks, Kim's snow plows could go through. I think it was like a 30-foot alley. But right now we're just, he wants Kim and I to overlook, you know, look at it and see if we're okay with easements and stuff, but I don't think it's final at all.
Well, Doug said he thought he was getting close. He
He's
told
getting
me that
close,
the
yeah.
other day. I'd like to have that sent out to the council as soon as you get it, so we can all be reviewing it.
Okay, we would like to try and get the easements, everything on it.
Yeah.
And then we'll try and, when he does that, then we'll have him send it to you.
That goes to the planning commission on the 11th?
Yeah.
It's supposed to go to planning commission on the 11th, yeah, but right now, we got a little ways to go, so we'll have to see if it's gonna work.
Some of the easements where he's trying to get the lots big enough doesn't give us a lot of room, and by the time, if you get gas, cable, phone. So I talked to Kim today, I told him I'm thinking about, it's kind of a little bit of an eyesore, but we might have to put the pad mount transformers on the corner in front of some of these places. Otherwise, without alleys, I have a hard time trying to change transformers out if I can't get to them. Even, you know, even if it rained 2 inches, we have a thunderstorm and lightning takes out a pad mount in the backyard. Even if there is an easement, I'm gonna leave ruts and, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we might put the pad mount to the front on the corner of a lot and then get an easement to go between them to the back. And then I'll put the meter sockets back there, cause they're a little higher, taller, and look a little worse. I don't want them up front,
Yeah.
so.
Well, we need your input, I mean, both of you.
Yeah, I'm glad Doug came to me and we're kicking things around, so.
Okay, good, I just
Mhm.
wanted to make sure it was moving forward.
Yep, yesterday, so.
The 11th, that's a preliminary plat only, so they won't, the final plat won't be ready for that.
Okay, okay.
Planning commission.
I just want the council to be kept informed and not be, I don't want this brought to us at a meeting.
Right.
I want us to have a chance to be looking at that and be involved with it. Thank you.
Doug,
Nothing.
Mike, you have anything tonight?
Let me read another text.
Mary?
I'm glad Dan got to go on vacation. I'm really jealous. I think we had a meeting that wasn't recorded, was that right? I'm glad you got to go on vacation. I think someone else needs to learn how to run the camera.
And would you like to do that?
I could if you wanted me to, but who knows how long I'll be here.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't,
that's-
maybe there's not another city staff member. Yeah, you could show me how to run it, but let's get someone else trained too.
Okay.
That's all.
Rod, yeah, Rod.
Yeah, there we go.
Rod can hit the live stream, get that going. He's out. Thank you. Rod,
Today I was up in Dannebrog doing some inspection on housing. There was inspectors from Kearney, Grand Island, and Holdridge. We went through and we were able to do approximately 55 to 60 houses and businesses. We just go through, walk through, do an assessment of more or less the basements. Some of them we got asked in, some we didn't, we just did exterior. But it was an experience. And I'm glad we're living there, we're never have to have it. So.
Kim is working, some of his staff's working on some of the alleys. I don't know why he's doing that this time of the year.
Yeah,
But
just bear with us, we're gonna try and hit all the alleys, but it's gonna be tough.
kind of along that line,
Yeah.
how about working on a street? I had get called down to business and met a couple business owners on West First.
Oh, yeah, those will be done, yeah, we're working on, we got the streets on the list too.
They're wondering, what's the chance of building that up so the water doesn't stand on the road?
Try and get a crown on it.
It'll just have to take some time, you know, I'll have to put some
Yeah.
dirt on it and get it packed, and then put some crushed on it, and,
It's
yeah,
gonna
we can
take-
do it, it's just gonna take some time, we gotta get a base in there, and
I didn't realize that was used that much, you know, I asked.
here is the
Chemical.
problem, is we have eager 16 and 17-year-olds with four-wheel drive pickups to want to make sure if they work or not. And that's where our problem lies.
Is that part of our recreational that we supply to?
I believe so.
It sounded like it was pretty muddy. I could get down there with my two-wheel drive pickup, and the Hellenic Chemical, I said, well, how much business do you do a year? He said 33 million. I said, okay, and CHS, their trucks come through there, and
Yeah, we can address it.
yeah, it's gonna take time, I know, but they would sure appreciate that. Brian?
Just so you guys know, you might have seen the bucket trucks on the east side of town. They started yesterday. The chamber got a hold of us and we're putting those big banners up for them. If you haven't seen them, they're one on each side of the pole. They're 7 foot tall, 2.5 foot wide, each of them.
Catch a lot of wind.
I'm worried about that. So I got some strapping because what they came with was like those clamps things. And that's what we had breaking on the Christmas decorations this last winter. So we got that strapping and we're doing it, so it's a slow process. But there's 40 banners and we're starting on the east end and we're gonna go as far as we can. They wanna go a little bit toward Allman Brothers, out toward Ford, and all the way up to 18th. And they're staggering across. So everywhere there's one of those, there will not be a Christmas decoration now. It's not gonna work, and they want them up year round.
How big did you say these are?
On each side of the pole, you've got the pole,
Okay,
then there's a banner here and a banner here, and it makes one big picture.
okay.
And they're 7 foot tall by 2.5 foot wide.
So you got
That's a lot
5
of
foot
wind.
of width
Oh, they're
there,
gonna be, they're big.
5 or 6 foot.
Yeah.
We do need heavier duty poles to hold.
They're all steel, but it's gonna work on them. We'll see.
That's a lot of wind.
So. But anyway, they're different, there's 4 different patterns. There's a horse, a tree, an ear of corn, and another one, and that says welcome to Holdridge, so. But if you wanna check them out, there's 3 or 4 hung up down there by Fritz's and on out of town. But we're working across.
Summer project.
It's gonna take a little bit to get her done, but trying to do it while it's wet yet. So.
I had a question on campers. They can park on the streets again? For how long?
Well, technically, every vehicle is supposed to move every 72 hours. I would say we handle that more on a complaint-driven basis. I don't know if officers can check every trailer that's on the street every day to chalk them and that when we have other things to do, but we do it on a complaint-driven basis, which
That's
is,
kind of what I thought, so.
you know, if officers, when they're checking their area, I mean, obviously, if they see debris built up under tires that, you know, during snow or, excuse me, during rain, if leaves and sticks are working, they should be able to tell that hasn't been moved, so. Little of both. Officers should be able to keep an eye on that.
Sounds great, thank you. This is a short meeting, so we'll make up for it. We'd like to have a special meeting on the 24th at 5:30 concerning the Hotel Dale project. They need the public input. Lori Ferguson with South Central Economic Development. With 5:30, the 24th is on Wednesday. Will that work for everybody?
We're gonna do it up here.
What's
We're
that?
gonna do it up here.
Correct.
It's a council meeting then.
Special council meeting. They don't have time to advertise it by the time they got to know. We will plan on that special meeting on the 24th then. Other than that, this meeting's adjourned.
Did you say 5:30?
5:30.
Hey, Randy, you know,
You'll probably get a notice.